Hi, I'm Glenn Rogers, and this is American Perspectives. Today we're going to be discussing and hopefully answering the question, is college worthwhile? A lot of people are actually wondering, should I even bother going to college right now? Is it worthwhile? Is it going to generate anything good in my life? Or is it just going to be a colossal waste of time and money? Well, I want to say this right up front. If it's done right, yes, college is worthwhile. But that raises the question, how does one do it right? And so that's at least part of what we want to talk about today. But before we get to that, I want to ask you to help us out by subscribing to the channel. There's a little button down there below that you can click. If you do, it doesn't cost you anything. It's not like a magazine subscription. You're not going to get a bill. Nobody's going to bother you. It's just a way of telling YouTube that you like the content of the channel, and that lets the video move up through their algorithm so that it's available for more people to see. So that'd be great if you could do that. Maybe click the little thumbs up down there as well. You can share this video. You can comment on this video. Anything that you can do like that, any kind of interaction is really helpful to us. So I would appreciate it if you do that. Okay. So is college worthwhile? Yes, I think it is if it's done right. But how do you do college right? Well, first let's discuss how not to do it, okay? Now, part of what I'm talking about today and part of the stuff that I'm going to be giving you grows out of my 17 years as a college professor. And each semester, when new students would come in and begin their college studies, we would have something of an orientation for them. And I was one of the teachers that would talk to a group of students. And we often talked about this very thing. How do we do this right so that it ends up being a good, positive, worthwhile experience? And so today I'm going to be telling you some of the things that I've told my students for many, many years. So the very first thing, if we're going to look at it from the side of what not to do, okay, the very first thing is don't go to college without a plan. Don't bother going if you don't know what you want to accomplish. And I mean specifically, it's not enough to say, well, I want to go to college. Why? Well, because my parents want me to. That's not a good reason to go, okay? You need to have some sort of specific plan for what you want to accomplish by going to college. Like, what degree do you want to earn, in what field, so that you can do what kind of a career, those sorts of things, okay? You have to think about it enough to have a plan. That's number one. Number two, don't go to college without understanding why you're there. And a lot of students miss out on this, especially the athletes. They think they're going to play ball or whatever it is that they're going for, and that's not why they're going. And if you ask them and they say, well, I'm here to play ball. No, you're not. You're here, number one, to get an education, to become an educated person, and number two, to acquire a skill set so that you can make a living when you get out of college. And if you're an athlete, so that you can make a living when your athletic career is over, which for a lot of people happens a lot sooner than they think it's going to happen. So going to college is not about partying and having a good time. Now, if that fits in, so you go to a party once in a while, great, and you can have a good time once in a while, great, but that's not what college is about. A lot of people think that's what it is about, and those are the people who often don't come back the second semester or the second year because it didn't go well. So when you go to college, go with the understanding that you're going for two very specific reasons. The first is to get an education so that you can be an educated person. And the second is to acquire a skill set that you can use to earn a living. Okay, number three, the third thing not to do is don't avoid the classes that require hard work. There are some classes that are just, you can't pass the class without reading, without thinking, without writing. And there are some classes that don't require much of that. Those are probably some of the classes you should avoid. But the classes that require a lot of reading, thinking, and writing, don't avoid those classes. Take those classes. That's going to help you in the long run. Number 4, don't take the fluff courses. You know, you're just wasting money when you do that. When you sit there and you take a class that isn't going to help you in your career, isn't going to give you any knowledge you can use or work with. Let me give you an example. One of my sons went to a prestigious private university that was in a part of the country where there were a lot of students there whose parents were in the movie business and Hollywood and that sort of thing. And they had a couple of courses about the movie business. And my son's roommate took a course about film analysis that turned out basically to have, what's his name? The guy that did the I've just lost Mel Gibson. There it is, Mel Gibson, I'm sorry. Lethal Weapon movies and all these other. They had Mel Gibson come and just talk about his movies. And that's what he did. Now, a lot of people will go, oh, that's cool. I want to go take a course where I meet Mel Gibson and listen to him talk about his movies. Yeah, okay. But unless you're going into the movie business, what good did that do you in any way, except it was interesting and you got to listen to Mel Gibson talk about his movies? That's a fluff course that really didn't offer much to those students. Okay? Don't waste your time and money on that sort of stuff. And don't waste your time and money, this is number 5, on taking a major where you can't get a job and make a living. One of the classic examples is somebody who, they major in art history. How many jobs in art history are there out there where you can actually graduate, get your degree, go and apply to a job, and use your education in art history to make a living? Well, there are not very many. What about fashion design? There are not very many. Okay, there are a lot of things you can study in college and get a degree in that field and then not be able to do anything with it. Well, that's a mistake. Don't do that. Okay, do some research about career opportunities. Figure out what's going to be available by the time you graduate and prepare yourself to get a job in those areas. See, that's how to avoid making college a meaningless experience. Well, all right, that's the negative side, how not to do it. Well, let's turn it around and look at the other side, how to do it right, okay? Number 1, going along with the idea of knowing why you're going, research job trends. Discover where the jobs are likely to be when you graduate. You need some kind of an idea of what you want to do. Many students go to college and say, well, what do you want to do when you graduate? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what I want to do. Okay, well, why are you here? How are you going to study something and develop a skill set if you don't know what you want to do? Figure out what you want to do. You want to be an engineer? You want to be a lawyer? You want to be a medical doctor? You want to be a dentist? What do you want to be? Do you want to be a college professor? Okay, what is it that you want to do? And somebody says, well, I don't know. I'm only 19. I don't know what I want to do. Well, okay, that's fair. I understand that. But you need to spend some time, talk to people in different fields, and figure out if this is a sort of thing you could do and you could be happy doing. See, and that leads us into number 2. Choose a career option where you can be happy. That's one of the most important things that you can do. Because let me tell you, most people at some point will have a job that they're not really excited about. They don't really like it, but it's the job they have right now and it's what they have to do. Well, there aren't very many things that are worse than having to get up every day and drag yourself to a job that you really don't enjoy doing. But it's what's paying the bills right now, so you got to go do it, okay? If you spend time thinking about what you enjoy doing and figuring out how to make money, how to earn a living doing that, you see, you've got a much better chance of being happy over the course of your life. So choose a career option where you can be happy in what you do. Number 3, look for colleges that have programs in the field you're interested in. A lot of students don't realize that colleges have specialties. Now, most of the bigger ones have a number of different specialties, but they have spent time and money developing a department that does this, and they do it really well, and people who graduate from that department, from that college or university, do well in finding jobs in that field because they've got good training, okay? Look for colleges that have programs in the field where you're interested and read reviews. Do some research by graduates who graduated that program and then went into that field and got a job. There are reviews out there about colleges and college programs, just like there are reviews about anything else, okay? Take the time to look them up and figure out what you want to study and where you want to study it. There may be 5 different universities that offer an excellent training program in this field, but maybe only one of the 5 is a college where you would be happy going. You see, so don't just assume that they're all the same and trot off to one of them, especially if it's a prestigious name. That's not a good way to choose what college you're going to. Number 4, when you get to college, approach it as if it were your full-time job, an 8 to 5, 5 days a week job. Get up, go to class, work all day. When you're done, come home for the day, just like it was a full-time job, okay? Number 5, when you go to class having read the material to be covered that day. Now, your teachers are going to tell you this all the time. Do the reading before you come to class. If you've got a good teacher, they will give you a syllabus that will have every single day, here's what we're going to cover in class, here's what you need to read, here's what you need to be prepared to discuss, okay? Make that preparation, do that stuff. Read the material, so when you go into class, you know what the professor is talking about, and you're in a position to raise your hand and make an intelligent comment about this material. Number 6, when you're not in class, go to the library or go someplace where you can sit quietly and study. All right, that's why you're there, to study, to learn. So when you're not in class, use your time wisely. Use that 8 to 5 work day schedule to spend time studying, reading, writing, working on your research papers, that sort of thing. Don't just go somewhere and sit down with your friends and waste time. That's not why you're there. And it's not helping you. That's not going to get you in a position to get and to do a meaningful job in a meaningful way. Number 7, if you're having trouble with an assignment in class, go and talk to your professor. That's one of the things they're there for. Every professor there has office hours. The office hours are posted. Go look and see when your professor is in his or her office, and go in at that time and talk and figure out what this assignment is and what you're not getting, and discuss what problem you're having with it, but talk to your professors. Number 8, avoid the liberal Marxist professors. And you'll know who they are. All you got to do is ask around. It's not hard to figure out who the troublemakers on the campus are. And it's the liberal Marxists. Avoid those people. Number 9, get to know your professors. That's one of the most important things you can do. Don't go in and sit down in the back and just sit there like a bump on a log and say nothing. Okay? Participate in class. Ask questions, answer questions, interact with your professor. That will get you a long way down the road toward getting the education you want, getting the advice and the help that you need. Okay? Get to know your professors. Number 10, understand that your college experience involves 2 equally important goals. Now, this is what I've already said a little bit ago. Number 1, to develop a marketable skill set, you need to be able to do something that someone will pay you to do. Okay? You need a marketable skill set. And number two, just generally speaking, you need to be an educated person, a widely read, thoroughly educated person who can talk about a lot of different kind of things because you've read a lot of different kind of books. And travel as much as you can. If the college or university has a semester abroad program or something like that, if you can get into it and do it, go do that. Traveling is a very important part of a thorough education. The 5th century philosopher theologian Augustine said, "The world is like a book, and people who do not travel have read only the first page." Now, if you think about that a minute, you'll get what he means. You need to travel to as many different places as you can and soak up the culture and understand different people, different ways of thinking, different ways of living. That's an important part of a thorough education. Now, here's what it boils down to. If you do college wrong, if you do it badly, then it will be a colossal waste of time and money. But if you do it right, it can be one of the most important and enriching experiences of your life. So do it right. Okay, that's what I have to say today about going to college. I hope you find it helpful. Again, I want to ask you to subscribe to our channel. It will be very helpful to us. And hit the like button with a little thumbs up. Maybe share this with someone else. If you're a student and you thought this was helpful, maybe send it to somebody you know that's also a student. But anything like that, you can do any kind of interaction, be very helpful and meaningful to us. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll watch some more of our videos.